Well, James Comey testified before Congress yesterday. Conservative news networks like Fox News are going to try their best to spin what's being said, try to make it seem like not a very big deal. One thing I've already heard is that, you know what Trump wasn't obstructing justice by firing James Comey as the head of the FBI. He's allowed to do that. President can fire people from jobs like that. What's the big deal? Okay, so is it true that the president is allowed to fire the head of the FBI? Yeah. My employer is allowed to fire me. Most employers can fire their employees without cause. They can just say, your job performance is not good, or they can say nothing. They can just say, well, you're fired. However, what if that employee goes, well, I think he fired me because he's racist. I think he fired me because I'm black. Okay, well, now you have to establish that somehow. You have to prove that he fired you because you're black and not just because of whatever reason they claimed. So if your boss goes on the news the next day and says, well, I fired him because he was black, okay, we have laws against that. You can't do that. So the boss is in trouble, big trouble. He broke the law. So is Donald Trump allowed to fire the head of the FBI? Yes. There's claims that he did it to obstruct justice. The head of the FBI was investigating Trump's team, which logically would include Trump at some point. So there's these assertions of, well, we think he did it because he was interfering with the investigation with Russia. Okay, well, that's a serious claim, very serious. We need some way to establish that. How are you going to prove that? Well, the next day, after firing James Comey, President Trump told those Russian diplomats I mentioned earlier that, well, I fired him to ease pressure off this Russia investigation. I'm feeling a lot better now that he's gone. That's really eased a lot of pressure for me. Okay, well, that's an open and shut case. Then he goes on TV, live TV with Lester Holt, and says pretty much the same thing, that he did it because of the Russia investigation. He wanted that to go away. Okay, so we have a guy saying, I fired him for this specific illegal reason. Okay, we didn't really even need James Comey's testimony to back that up, but now we have it. He was even asked, why do you think the president fired you? And he said, well, I take the president at his word because of the Russia investigation. Anyone who's trying to come up with some other alternate explanation for why this happened is grasping at straws, frankly. We already know. The president himself has told us, and what happened was illegal.